The Fox 25 Primetime News at 9 starts right now.
The OEA calls for an end to the walkout, but first, a massive fire forcing evacuations in northwest Oklahoma. Fox 25's Jennifer Falsetti has details from the live desk. Jennifer.
Well, Wendy, this is just one of many fires we have been tracking all night long. This one is multiple fires, and it's growing into become a very dangerous situation for residents in the Woodward area. I want to show you the last update that was made by the Oklahoma Forestry Services. There is a picture there of this fire. This is the 34 complex fire. Again, multiple fires are included in this. It's estimated at 115,000 acres and growing rapidly. Now, we're assuming that at this point it is larger than that, and that's how much it's grown just in the last 5 hours or so. Multiple structures have been threatened by this fire. Evacuations are in place in several different towns in and around the Woodward area. Resources will be working through the night, according to Oklahoma Forestry Services. Now, the location is about 4 miles northwest of Woodward. There's also another fire which is closer to the ceiling area. You're looking at a map there that shows you a little bit better idea of where these fires are located. Now, residents that are supposed to be evacuating, if you cannot get to a shelter, if you have nowhere to stay, there is a shelter that has been set up in Woodward at the Faith United Methodist Church there on Texas Avenue. Of course, we're going to continue gathering any new details for you right here at the live desk.
That wildfire right now. Look at this. This is what we can see on radar. The wildfire is putting off so much smoke just southwest of Sealing that is showing up very, very well on radar. Look at that. This wildfire is starting to move up to the north as it does get blown by some extremely strong south winds. Now, just to put this wildfire into perspective, remember that enormous wildfire just outside of Los Angeles called the Thomas Fire that happened in December of 2017? To reach 115,000 acres, it took that fire 4 days, and that was about the one of the top 5 largest wildfires in all of California. It took that 34 complex fire, which we're tracking right now, less than 2 hours to get to that size. So to say that its explosive growth is really understating it, and really this has been blown by these extremely strong southerly winds, sustained at 23 miles an hour in Watonga right now, right around 14 mile an hour sustained winds in Woodward. And then you got to mix in the relative humidity values, and look at that, 5% relative humidity value out towards Woodward, so it is extremely dry. The other thing that's going to complicate fighting these fires is as this dry line, which has set up in western Oklahoma, retreats out to the west, there's going to be a bit of a wind shift, so instead of it getting blown kind of south or southeast, the winds are going to shift to the south and southeast. And they're really going to increase, so we're going to be talking about winds increasing to about 20 to 30 miles an hour on the eastern side of this dry line. The fire conditions are going to be critical to very high as we go throughout tonight, and they're going to be much, much higher in western Oklahoma. Another very bad day tomorrow. We got details in your Storm Watch forecast.
The hot, dry conditions mean wildfires popping up across the state. A large wildfire in western Oklahoma has burned more than 500 acres. Oklahoma Forestry Services says the Ray Fire broke out around 2 this afternoon in Dewey County, 9 miles southeast of Leedy. In Oklahoma City, firefighters were called to a 2-acre grass fire near Northeastern and East Hefner Road. Police blocked traffic so that firefighters could access the area and put out that fire. I just pulled up the Oklahoma Forestry Services map. 16 counties are under the governor's burn ban right now, and you can see there is very high fire danger in the western part of the state. But the dry and windy conditions across the state are making it possible for fires to spread anywhere. Fox 25's Caroline Vandergrift joins us now live with a look at the outlook going into tomorrow. Caroline.
Well, a fire that starts now has the potential to spread really quickly because of the winds and low humidity. The fire danger right now is high, and tomorrow is expected to be even worse. Now, earlier today, we were at a wildfire that spread quickly in Logan County. It was about 10 to 12 miles southeast of Guthrie. A few homes in the immediate vicinity had to be evacuated, but no homes or buildings were damaged. It took a half-dozen fire departments several hours to get it under control. The National Guard brought in a Chinook helicopter to drop water from the air, and the Oklahoma Forestry Service used dozer crews to build a fire line. The dry, hot conditions made it really difficult for firefighters to work.
Unfortunately, good old Mother Nature's not throwing us any any good pitches. So we're having to deal with what she sends us, which unfortunately is not going to be any real recovery time in the overnight hours. Usually the humidity will come back up, but unfortunately it looks like we're in for a couple more days of the same conditions.
If fires do break out near where you live, firefighters urge people not to come out and look at what's going on. In the rural areas, the roads are tight to begin with, and crews need room for their trucks. Now, even if the county you live in isn't under a burn ban, firefighters are urging you to avoid any activity that can cause sparks or flames in the next couple of days. Be very careful with discarding any cigarettes or even grilling out on your barbecues. Firefighters say that will really lessen the chances of wildfires spreading out of control. Wendy?
And Caroline, homeowners can also make sure their homes are more defensible against fire by moving trash, debris, and other flammable items like firewood piles a safe distance away from the home. And if you do see any suspicious smoke or fire, call 911. After 9 days, the walkout is over. The teachers union made that call today. Fox 25's Jordan Lucero is live at the Capitol with the details for us. Jordan.
Hey Wendy, the OEA has called for an end to the walkout here at the Capitol right now. You can see there's a crew here that is disassembling the stage and the audio equipment that's been here for the walkout all week. The OEA is asking for any teachers who have already had their classes canceled for tomorrow to use tomorrow as a day to thank everybody who's helped them through the effort. We asked if that effort was a victory.
The Oklahoma Education Association, the teachers union behind the walkout, calls for it to end. The president of the organization, Alicia Priest, made the announcement.
The decision to shift focus is not going to be embraced by everyone. But there comes a time when if what you're doing is not getting the results you seek, there is wisdom in shifting focus.
Priest says they'll shift the focus to elections, but calls the walkout still a victory.
We absolutely have a victory for teachers. $500 million is a victory.
Most of the dollars came before the walkout even started, when in late March, lawmakers came to a historic agreement to pass new taxes to fund a $2.9 billion education budget. Priest didn't take any questions about that.
Thank you.
For the last several days.
What percentage of your teachers responded to the...
Teachers standing by the OEA say they gained a victory from the movement.
After 38 years in this profession, I've been empowered this week. I've been empowered by the thousands of individuals that I've had an opportunity to visit with and talk to over the last 9 days.
Our members are saying they are ready to go back to their classrooms, and we will continue supporting them as they come lobby on a daily basis.
The OEA says, polling its members, 70% of them said they did not believe continuing the walkout was going to change any of the progress here at the Capitol. But we also heard from many members who say they were never polled at all. Wendy.
Jordan, thank you. And to see the entire press conference from today, you can go to our website, okcfox.com.
And of course, we are following school closings as they come in. The latest to announce that they would actually open up for school tomorrow is Edmond Public School Districts. They will be open now that the OEA has called an end to the walkout. And Governor Mary Fallin is taking to Twitter to express her feelings on all of this. She said in a statement, Oklahomans and our elected officials have proven they are committed to school children, teachers, and educators. I'm glad teachers who participated in the union strike will return to teaching their students. Of course, Edmond is just one of the many districts that made that decision whether or not they would be open or closed tomorrow. Now that that announcement from the OEA has come down, we have every school district that has made that announcement to close on our website, okcfox.com. So if you're unsure, be sure to visit our website before tomorrow morning.
The American Federation of Teachers releasing this statement to Fox 25. The Oklahoma Education Association has its own process for ending the walkout. We have ours. The Oklahoma City AFT went out with a vote, and we will go back in based on a vote. Tomorrow, we'll take a vote of OK City teachers on whether to return to the classroom. Moore Public Schools was one of the only districts back in class today. Many students and some teachers did not show up in support of the walkout. Some students and parents weren't happy about being back in school, worried that people were starting to give up.
We were mad. We felt like our teachers were being given up on. And we have always said from the beginning of this that we support our teachers 100% as long as it takes.
They're very hopeful that some people will still show up to the Capitol tomorrow to continue showing support for the teachers in Oklahoma. And make sure you stay right here with Fox 25. We're going to have the latest on the teacher walkout starting at 5 a.m. with Chris and Jasmine. Plus, you can download our app so you can follow developments from anywhere. New tonight, it's been more than 20 years since the Murrah bombing, and lessons from that day are still being used today. Albert Ashwood is the director of the Oklahoma Department of Emergency Management and was operations manager on April 19, 1995. He has been responsible for taking those lessons learned that day and applying them to other disasters in Oklahoma.
We're seeing more and more catastrophic events. And I think what we're learning from is, number one, even the federal government has limitations, and that we should really look at our preparedness from the bottom up instead of the top down.
Ashwood says it's important to remember the past because it can always happen again. This week, our new weekly series, Sailing Over America, takes us over the falls. But don't worry, it's worth the view. Sailing Over America, or SOAR, showcases some of the best drone footage from around the country. Photographer pilots venture all over to bring you these incredible shots, focusing this week on waterfalls and spillways. Coming up, how an escapee made it more than 30 years without getting caught by police. Also, 2 arrests made in a cold case. The reaction tonight from the victim in the crime. And the big announcement from Apple to help the environment.
From the Fox 25 studios in Oklahoma City, this is the Fox 25 Primetime News at 9.
The much-anticipated autobiography from former FBI Director James Comey will officially be released next Tuesday, but details are already starting to emerge. A higher loyalty is expected to cover Comey's 2-decade career in public service, including his interactions with President Trump, who ultimately fired him from the top FBI post last May amid an investigation into possible collusion between Trump's 2016 presidential campaign and the Russian government. In the book, Comey says Trump is untethered to truth and calls his leadership ego-driven and about personal loyalty.
We've just obtained some video within the last 10 minutes of the significant fires burning right now, prompting evacuations near Woodward, Oklahoma. This is video from storm chaser Jeff Bartlett, who is up there right now. Now, there are multiple fires burning in and around Woodward that have grown to about 115,000 acres just in the last 5 hours. The Oklahoma Forestry Services says that they do plan to have crews on the ground throughout the night as fire conditions are not expected to get any better. This is a very dangerous situation. Again, many folks being evacuated from their homes. That was about 4 miles outside of Woodward. We're going to keep following this very closely for you here at the Live Desk.
2 arrests made in a 2015 armed robbery. Police arrested 32-year-old Christina Shiflett and 27-year-old Kimberly Morgan. Police say the women and another man came up to a couple as they were sleeping in their car and demanded money, pistol whipping the man.
I'd honestly kind of forgotten about it here and there. I'd kind of message Oklahoma City PD's Facebook page and ask them about it.
The robbery happened near the Canadian River on Midwest Boulevard. That third suspect has not yet been arrested. A man being sought by police for more than 30 years is finally behind bars. 58-year-old Stephen Paris was arrested this morning in Houston. Paris escaped from the Jess Dunn Correctional Center in 1981 when he was 22. He was originally serving time for possession and distribution of drugs. He was considered one of the DOC's most wanted. Right now, U.S. Marshals are searching for a wanted man believed to be in OKC. They say 50-year-old Martin Paris robbed a bank Monday in Kansas and is considered dangerous. He could be in a four-door silver Kia Optima, and his red hair could have been dyed black. 14 Oklahoma counties are giving their voters a chance to change their drinking laws. If the liquor buy drink pop proposition is passed in June, local businesses will be allowed to sell alcohol above 3.2%. Some of the counties include Alfalfa, Caddo, Harper, Harmon, Roger Mills, and Washita. Right now, Uber is starting to run yearly background checks on their drivers. This comes after women began accusing drivers of rape, assault, and kidnapping. Drivers applying for Uber cannot have any convictions for felonies, violent crimes, or sex offenses. Uber will also be adding an emergency 911 button to the app, which will notify police of a passenger's location. After nearly a decade of trying, Apple finally hits an environmental milestone. Fox's Brett Larson explains in this edition of Fox on Tech.
It wasn't easy, but Apple has gone completely green. The California-based company achieving the environmental goal after 6 years of work on everything from financing projects to locating new buildings near renewable energy sources. A data center built a few years back is powered by a nearby solar farm. And the company's newly built headquarters also grabbed sunshine during the day. There are batteries on site to store it up for cloudier times. Back in 2010, just 16% of the company facilities were green, and the new milestone comes amid rumors of a new Apple Watch, the fourth version of the popular wearable technology. This time around, it's rumored to be getting a complete design overhaul. While it will keep the cellular connections and stay waterproof, it will also have a larger screen and bigger battery. But there's also reports of some new sensors to give the device more abilities to track your health and your movements. The watch can already keep track of your ticker, but the rumored Series 4 may even help you improve your golf swing or tell you if you're doing your bicep curls correctly. Rumor has it the Series 4 watch will be announced in September with a price just under $400. In New York, I'm Brett Larson, Fox News.
Social media is changing the way we travel. Fox 25 Consumer Watch has got your back with how to save money while getting what's now considered the perfect vacation.
Did you wait too long to file your taxes? What you need to know about extensions and what you need to do before Tuesday's deadline. Tomorrow morning, 5 to 9.
From the Fox 25 studios in Oklahoma City, this is the Fox 25 Primetime News at 9.
So many people will pick a resort based on what the pictures look like on Instagram or Facebook. So resorts have really kind of taken that to the extreme.
Social media is changing the way Americans travel. Fox 25's Maria Garcia's got your back with the cost of getting the perfect shot. It's tonight's Consumer Watch.
From bringing props to the location itself, the way we travel is changing. The catalyst? Instagram.
Everybody does it. The perfect photograph to show people your vacation, or better yet, bragcation. Leah Vincent from Vincent Vacation says that both people with and without children are looking for more picture-taking opportunities. Resorts are making it easier to get those perfect shots to please consumers.
Yeah, so it used to be if you wanted to go get married on the beach, it was just this like simple ceremony. And now it's as elaborate as something that would be at a fancy hotel in the United States, but it's on the beach in Mexico.
Travelers are also packing a little extra to capture the memory just right.
Some take it to a whole other level. I did a girls trip and we even packed a huge blow-up unicorn so we could take pictures. We had a swim-up suite. We had the unicorn floating.
It's easier for your vacation to feel and look perfect if you use social media the right way. Travel packages do offer some savings options, but picking the nicer hotel or getting a personalized hat for the picture does add up to more spending.
There's nothing wrong with wanting to capture your vacation in the best way possible. Main recommendations are not to forget to enjoy your vacation while you're there and to think about what kind of pictures you want to take ahead of time so you don't overspend trying to bring props over with you. Maria Garcia, Fox 25 Consumer Watch.
Using hashtags and live feeds on social media sites is also an easy way for consumers to get a real look at the place they're considering for that vacation. Well, coming up, flu deaths may have slowed down, but when can we expect the flu season to finally come to a close? And the surprising risk factor that could make you much more likely to crash your car.
Well, just because the Oklahoma Education Association has declared the walkout over does not mean that it necessarily is. The group of teachers that organized the walkout on the Oklahoma Teacher Walkout Time Is Now, where you are looking live at their Facebook page, have said that they do still plan to be at the Capitol tomorrow. They posted this status to their Facebook page just within the hour, saying tomorrow Stillwater teachers from all buildings will be at the Capitol, tent set up, business as usual. Our legislators voted to adjourn until Monday so that they will be absent from the Capitol, but we are asking that every district be at the Capitol tomorrow. If your district is closed, we need everyone at the Capitol. If your district is open, please send your delegates to the Capitol. Once at the Capitol, they're calling for each school district to pick and send one representative from each building in your district to the Stillwater tent. And it does appear by the amount of comments that have been coming in throughout the evening that a lot of teachers do plan to be at the Capitol. Of course, we'll be watching it for you here on Fox 25 News.
As President Trump threatens military action in Syria over the use of chemical weapons, his defense secretary says no decision has been made yet. So what are President Trump's options? National correspondent Michelle Macaluso has more from Capitol Hill.
After the Syrian regime's alleged use of chemical weapons, President Trump is now weighing a response.
We have got to look at the use of chemical weapons, whether it be in Salisbury, England, or in Syria, as something that's inexcusable and it's got to be addressed.
Appearing before the House Armed Services Committee, Secretary of Defense James Mattis says the U.S. could respond in several ways: diplomatically, economically, or militarily.
One thing I don't think that we'll do is do nothing.
The president could choose a military option for Syria, similar to the cruise missile strike he ordered in April of last year.
We're trying to stop the murder of innocent people, but on a strategic level, it's how do we keep this from escalating out of control.
And Democrats also worry that military action will escalate tensions in the region.
I'm not at this point ready to support U.S. military action in Syria for the very simple reason that I don't see how it is going to stop Assad from doing what he's doing to his own people.
Mattis told lawmakers the U.S. is committed to ending the war in Syria and said the best way to do that is through the United Nations. But some Democrats wonder if the administration has a coherent plan to deal with the conflict.
The administration has no strategy. The president is bouncing back and forth in a helter-skelter way. It is extraordinarily dangerous.
Secretary Mattis reassured lawmakers that the administration would notify leaders in Congress before any military action was carried out. On Capitol Hill, I'm Michelle Macaluso.
In Texas, a new program has been launched to combat illegal immigration. Federal and local officials are joining forces, and authorities say they're getting a lot done. Casey Stiegel takes a look.
This takes local government and federal government working alongside one another to a whole new level. Agents with Immigration and Customs Enforcement, or ICE, tell us the program fulfills multiple needs, ultimately slowing the flow of illegal immigration because to get a job, their employment documents, say Social Security cards and birth certificates, items that are commonly used fraudulently, well, they're under more scrutiny. Agents say it also better protects both the employee and the employer because members of the Image program have their records audited and employees undergo extensive HR training using tools like E-Verify to ensure their staff and future applicants are legal.
It basically matches Social Security numbers with the person's name, and it also uses some other data in our DHS database to help verify that the person is in fact who they say they are, and they're authorized to work in the United States.
While the majority of the enrollees are private businesses or major companies, Rockwall County, Texas just became the first county in the Lone Star State and one of only a handful of other local governments across the country to become ICE certified. This growing community about 30 miles east of Dallas is leading the way. Now, every single one of its more than 300 county employees and new hires will be screened for immigration status. By the way, the cost, absolutely free.
You know, just simply, I think it was a no-brainer, to be honest with you. You know, we are a nation of laws. We want to make sure that we're doing things the right way.
Image is run through ICE's Homeland Security Investigation Unit. It's been around since 2006, but is growing now in popularity. In Dallas, Casey Stiegel, Fox News.
Of course, we've been tracking those extremely dangerous wildfires in western Oklahoma, and those fires have spread very, very quickly because look at these winds out of the south, about 25 to 30 miles an hour. These are sustained winds, so we're talking about gusts on top of that. Gusts basically statewide have peaked right around 40 to about 50 miles an hour this afternoon. As we go through tonight, the winds do subside a tiny little bit, but they're still going to be sustained right around that 20 mile an hour mark. So once you get west, you're going to be seeing those winds in about, the 25 to 30 mile an hour mark. And then those gusts are going to be on top of that. Then they pick up as we get up tomorrow morning. Also, we're talking about those relative humidity values still in the single digits out west for Woodward, 7% relative humidity. Dry line is slowly pushing off back to the west, and that's going to be an issue, especially for all of those fires, as there is a wind shift associated with this dry line as it does move back to the west. Winds up to the west of the dry line are from the southwest. East of the dry line, they're from the southeast, so those fires just going to get blown by a slightly different direction. Also, if you go outside right now in Oklahoma City in central Oklahoma, it's going to feel pretty humid because relative humidity values are pretty high. We've got a pretty good moisture return, and that's going to bring the chance for some showers for tonight, especially off in eastern Oklahoma. Getting up and out tomorrow morning, 70 degrees by 9 to 10 a.m. Chance for some showers and thunderstorms, mostly in eastern Oklahoma, and then extreme fire danger comes back as you get into the afternoon, mostly for southwestern Oklahoma, but that will include the Oklahoma City metro, so please be extremely careful doing anything out there. Don't be flicking any cigarette butts out the window tomorrow at all. This is all because we have a dry line pushing through central Oklahoma. It's going to keep us windy. It's also going to keep us good and dry with temperatures right around 80 degrees. Then a very strong cold front is going to shove through the state from northwest to southeast, and that means that by Saturday it's going to be good and cold and also still very windy. We're talking about high temperatures barely making it out of the 40s as you get through the afternoon on Saturday. Your wildfire threat stays extreme for Friday, improves, if you can say that, down to critical on Saturday. We get rid of most of it on Sunday, but then it all comes back as we get to Tuesday as those temperatures come back up. Fire weather headlines, red flag warning in effect all the way through until 10 p.m. tomorrow, as we are expecting some extremely strong winds and some very, very low relative humidity values. Freezing conditions for Sunday morning, then we're back to the 80s by Tuesday.
From the Fox 25 studios in Oklahoma City, this is the Fox 25 Primetime News at 9.
Israelis commemorate their annual Holocaust Remembrance Day with a moment of silence across the country honoring the millions killed during the Holocaust. President Benjamin Netanyahu says the lessons learned will never be forgotten. Amy Kellogg has more. This is New at 9.
Israelis stood still to honor the 6 million lives lost during the Holocaust. A 2-minute siren wailed across the country to mark the annual Remembrance Day. Dignitaries, including Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, laid wreaths and attended ceremonies at the National Holocaust Memorial in Jerusalem as a way to pay respect to those killed by Nazi Germany and its collaborators in World War II.
The memory of the Holocaust is always with us, and so is our appreciation to the courage that established the State of Israel and gives us the hope to the future. The hope is first and foremost our ability to defend ourselves on our own against those who want to annihilate us.
Netanyahu telling the crowd, we must remember no one is exempt from acts of hate.
Events of recent days teach that standing up to the evil and aggression is a mission imposed on every generation.
In Poland, thousands participated in the annual March for the Living, walking between Auschwitz and Birkenau as a way to remember the victims. The March of the Living is especially important this year as there's been a diplomatic spat between Poland, the U.S., and Israel over a Holocaust law adopted by Warsaw that criminalizes any suggestion of Poland's complicity in the atrocities. In Milan, Amy Kellogg, Fox News.
Fire weather warnings in effect all the way through until 10 p.m. tomorrow. Red flag warnings, that is, for Oklahoma City. So we're expecting some very dangerous fire conditions for Oklahoma City and points south and west as a dry line pushes through central Oklahoma and a cold front follows. That cold front's going to bring in some crazy cold air. How about this? High temperature barely out of the 40s on Saturday. Low temperatures in the upper 20s to about 30 degrees Sunday morning. We'll be right back.
From the Fox 25 studios in Oklahoma City, this is the Fox 25 Primetime News at 9.
The state health department is saying this deadly flu season has significantly slowed down, with the season set to end the 3rd week of May. A total of 271 people have died this flu season since September 1st. 4,639 people have been hospitalized. And you can see on the CDC's website, the flu is considered regional in Oklahoma. If your family enjoys Salisbury steak, there's a recall that you should know about. ConAgra Brands is recalling more than 135,000 pounds of Salisbury steak products. The USDA says the family-sized pack may be contaminated with bone and other materials. The affected items were made on March 10th and have a best buy date of September 1st, 2019. A new study shows that lack of sleep could lead to drowsy driving. People who suffer from chronic sleep apnea are more likely to crash even if they don't feel sleepy. Among those who don't suffer from sleep apnea but only get 6 hours of rest a night, the risk of a crash is 33% higher than if they sleep 8 hours every night. Well, if you like to stay up late and be a night owl, a new study might convince you to do otherwise. According to research from Northwestern University, staying up late can cause many health problems like diabetes, neurological and psychological disorders, gastrointestinal, and respiratory problems. All right, Carla's back. Got a final check of our forecast. That weather danger remaining very high.
Yeah, fire danger is going to be a huge thing for tomorrow. The other thing you're going to have to look out for, a little bit of mist in Oklahoma City. Kind of a strange thing to think about, that we're going to be a little misty but very warm, but that's because there is one crazy dry line which is going to be pushing west to east, which is going to bring back the fire danger. So red flag warnings in effect all the way through until 10 p.m. tomorrow. There's your dry line. Extreme fire danger in southwestern quarter of Oklahoma, including Oklahoma City. Cold front to follow behind it. Very, very strong northwesterly winds to complicate things. Details in your Storm Watch forecast in a bit.
Well, the Thunder in the playoffs and Russell Westbrook made NBA history, but there are some things to be concerned about. How about Corey Brewer? Did he get hurt bad last night against Memphis? And what would that mean? I'll get into that next in the Sports Wrap. Hello, everybody. Couple big stories leading things off with both involving the Thunder. Now, we know they're in the playoffs and who they will play, the Utah Jazz. Russell Westbrook setting a standard with back-to-back seasons of averaging a triple-double. But as far as the playoffs, are all hands on deck? In other words, what's up with Corey Brewer's knee? Is it serious? Will he miss game time, and how much if he misses? Well, here's what we know. Thunder saying Brewer suffered a sprained knee in the second half of Wednesday's game against the Memphis Grizzlies when Mario Chalmers fell into his knee. That's all the team will confirm, but a report on Yahoo Sports says Brewer intends to play Sunday when the team opens its playoff series against Utah. Brewer was in pain right after the incident, but reports saw he walked out of the arena later that night on his own power with no noticeable limp. Brewer has played well since the Thunder picked him up on the buyout market, averaging 10 points per game in 18 contests with the Thunder. 16 of those he started. Of course, Russell Westbrook still generating buzz tonight by becoming the first player in NBA history to average a triple-double in back-to-back seasons. His career-high 20 rebounds against the Grizzlies put him over the top. Now, the overall numbers for Russ definitely stand out. He put up 25 points tonight on 45% shooting, 10 rebounds and 10 assists tonight. He's fourth all-time in triple-doubles with 104. Oscar Robertson 181, topping that list with Magic Johnson and Jason Kidd next. And of course, the only ones in front of Russ. All those guys are Hall of Famers. 25 of Russ's triple-doubles coming this season to lead the NBA.
Yeah, I mean, it's amazing. Last year, everybody tracked it, and this year, really, nobody did. You know, I think it speaks to his greatness as a player. You know, the fact that he can impact the game in a lot of different ways. You know, again, it's incredible to be able to do that, you know, for 2 consecutive seasons. And maybe because of the Oscar Robertson, and it was so long before somebody was able to, you know, do that. You know, it was really amazing to me is, you know, even if he didn't get the 16 rebounds, the fact that he was that close again in the second year was amazing, but he did get it. So, I mean, really remarkable, just the way he impacts the game.
Thunder open their playoff series with the Jazz Sunday evening at Chesapeake Arena at 5:30. First 2 games here in Oklahoma City with Game 2 next Wednesday night at 7 o'clock. Then the series will shift to Utah for the next 2 contests with Game 3 April 21st. That's a week from Saturday. Game 4 April 23rd in Salt Lake City. If no one has won 4 games, the series goes back and forth with Game 5 here in Oklahoma City, Game 6 in Utah, and Game 7, if necessary, here in Oklahoma City. Our spring football practice continued at Oklahoma today. Work continued on both sides of the football. From a media perspective, defense getting the attention for the Sooners today. Of course, the Rose Bowl, the last time the defense played a game for real, and that defense lost some big bodies. The guys like safety Stephen Parker are gone, along with fellow safety Will Johnson. The competition at cornerback is fierce this spring, with several guys vying for playing time. Parnell Motley started 13 of 14 games last season. Motley and Trey Norwood ended last season as your starters. Trey Brown is a sophomore like Norwood, and like Norwood impressed as a freshman last season. Jordan Parker started before injuring his knee in the opener against UTEP. He's back, but is limited this spring. A couple freshmen, Starlin Baldwin, a 4-star recruit who enrolled early, and 5-star recruit Brandon Radley Hiles, also known as Buki, is competing at a number of positions.
How's the competition at corner? You got a lot of guys back there that's competing.
It's gone good. You know, Trey's played well, and Trey Norwood. Trey Brown's been good. Purnell's had, you know, a lot of good days.
You say he's had his moments. Is he showing consistency? What do you want to see out of him?
I think that's what, for all of us, consistency, that we can rely on you know, all the time, and and that's what he has to work on.
You can check out the corners, safeties, and every other position Saturday when the annual spring game is played. Bob Stoops statue dedication at 10 a.m. Trace Atkins concert among the other things going on that day. The game slated to start at 1:15. And how about some high school baseball between a couple 6A schools, Norman at UConn. Cade Horton of Norman was the hero for the Tigers in a game that went to 10 innings. His bases clearing double scored 3 runs to break a 1-all tie. Well, I hope that third base coach didn't throw out his arm on the socket there. Tigers won the game in 10 innings, 5-1. Dodgers continue their home stand tonight with the game against Round Rock. Dodgers won at 3-1 to complete the 3-game sweep. Of course, you have to go back to 2007 to find the last time Oklahoma City won the first 3 home games of the season. Also, legendary Jinx coach Alan Trimble announces his retirement. Trimble, who has won 13 state titles, is battling ALS. There's your sports. We'll see you back here at 10 o'clock.